So now we are about to finalize the jar and officially attach a knob. I've got my 3 feet slipped and scored on. They're stable. They have since flattened out a little bit due to gravity, but we kind of need that to happen and it's unavoidable. So there's a difference between feet or legs getting crushed and collapsing versus flattening out ever so slightly, which is okay. So I can put weight on these 3 feet now. They're strong enough for that. And at this point, I'm debating what kind of knob to add. Should I make a knob that matches the feet? You know, keep it very matchy-matchy. That would be nice and interesting. You may want to do that. So it's like making an additional foot, but you're using it as a knob. Or maybe I want something more ergonomic, which is a fancy word for customized to your liking. So I've got my thumb tips customized, pressed in on what looks like a giant Hershey kiss in clay. So that might make a good knob, easy to grab. I'm just testing out different looks. I don't particularly like the way that looks. It doesn't really fit the shape of my jar, but it might be an option for something I make in the future. What I do like is this spiral-shaped coil that kind of looks like a snail shell. I feel like that fits well. I cut it and manipulated it so it's nice and flat and can easily sit atop my jar. And I think visually it flows, especially because I have spiral designs carved in. It's like the cherry on top. So you want that knob to be kind of a focal point, like a highlight piece. So now I'm going to slip and score the knob to the top of the jar. I can use water, I can use slip. I'm going to use a paper clip rather than a fork because that spiral knob coil is so difficult to work with when it comes to using a fork. And it's just easier to poke holes. Remember, that's an alternative to scoring. You don't always have to crosshatch. You can even poke holes with a paper clip. That gets the job done. So I've got it scored up. I've added water. I'm going to score again for safety, for good measure. And then I'll do the same thing to the top of the jar in just a minute. I'm kind of marking out, like leaving some water residue from the knob onto the jar so I know exactly where to slip and score it. And you want to be careful that you don't totally mess up your Zentangles on the very top of your jar while slipping and scoring. So you want to kind of carefully score up that area. I feel like the fork is a little too messy, so I can't control it as well. I'm messing up my Zentangles in the process. So I'm going to use a paper clip instead, and I can be very focused about exactly where I score. I'm adding a little water and now pressing, applying some pressure. I want to make sure that knob stays put. You really want a strong bond between the knob and the lid so that you can use the knob later when this project becomes rock hard. And we will be making sure it dries out and gets rock hard later. I will be announcing that in class. But at this point, when you are happy with everything, still put it in your Ziploc bag for safekeeping.